So after spending a few weeks with the much talked about ZR, I think I've finally figured out Nikon's lineup and the best ways to separate which one may be for you and what makes the lineup as a whole special. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Chris Hagan, a video producer and photographer in Portland, Oregon. And as I'm working on a video about my first impressions of the Nikon ZR, which has been a lot of fun to use so far, something dawned on me that I just wanted to get off my chest before discussing that camera specifically. I watched a video recently discussing how boring cameras are in 2026. The theme was just that there's a lot of overlap these days. Many of them up and down the lineup of different brands, from the flagship cameras to the entry-level full-frame models, have more or less the same stellar image quality and share a lot of features on paper. And while Nikon's lineup does have some of that as well, their cameras are far from boring. They're all a little bit unique, whether it's exterior design or something like the ZR having the R3D RAW profile. Throughout the current full-frame lineup, from the Z9 and Z8 to the Z5 II and really everywhere in between, they all give you a different feeling, and that matters a lot. I really do think that the feeling we get when using gear matters because it's what we use to create art. And if there's no feeling in what you're creating, do you even want to use the camera? Do you even want to pick it up to go out and shoot? What are you doing? I think of it as like with the Z9 and Z8, you feel like you can take on the world because there's nothing those powerhouse cameras can't do. You've got high resolution, fast sensor, raw video, the professional beefed up bodies, the speed of using them in photo and video mode and switching back and forth between the two. They're absolute units. The Z6 III and Z5 II probably feel like you're committing a crime because you're getting such capable cameras at very, very fair prices compared to the competition. Minus a bit of resolution and a partially stacked sensor instead of the fully stacked sensor like the Z8, the Z6 III gives you a pro-level body with the same advanced features like raw video for like 2/3 of the price. And the Z5 II, often on sale for $1,600 brand new, is the best deal going in full frame still, with raw 12-bit video capability and a pro-level sensor. Seriously, it's kind of nuts. Cameras that cost more than twice as much can't record raw video internally. Not that that's the end-all be-all, but it's cool that that's capable. But I think it's the more niche cameras that really make the lineup special and what separates Nikon right now, in my opinion. The ZF is a retro body, but every bit as capable as the more modern-looking options. Like the Z5 II, the 24-megapixel sensor excels in low light, and overall the camera is just super fun for casual photography and capable of plenty of professional work. I've done lots of videos about it if you want to check those out. And then there's the ZR, the camera that's actively converting creators over to Nikon. It's far from traditional, it is a bit quirky, some things could still use some ironing out, but with a gorgeous screen to help capture raw red video, Nikon RAW, ProRes RAW, and lots more, we've actually never seen anything like it, which is kind of hard to say these days. Oh, and it's $2,200, and I've seen refurbished models from Nikon already and some used options for under $2,000. So again, I think it's a real bang for your buck for some of the features that cameras that cost twice as much don't have. Second time I've said that already in this video. And before we go any further, since I did just heap a ton of praise onto Nikon and may continue to give them some high fives throughout the rest of this video, I gotta say I am not being paid to say any of this. I just appreciate their lineup of cameras. With my hard-earned net 30, net 45 money, I've purchased and owned the Z8 and ZF, and I have the ZR on loan from Nikon USA for a bit, so a big thanks to them for letting me check it out. As I've rotated between these three cameras for work and play, photos and video, they all share the good things like excellent image quality and reliability, but how you get there is different because each is unique. To me, and again, this is subjective, the Z8 is the best of the bunch and it's priced accordingly. But even though you can get most of the same video output from it as the ZR, it doesn't have that screen that everyone loves to talk about, and it doesn't have the R3D NE codec for red raw video. Same for photos. The Z8 is technically a better sensor, but Going back and forth between that and the ZF, the feeling is very different. I had my filmmaker friend use them both to snap a few pics on a job we were on recently. I don't think he's ever used either of the cameras before, and the look on his face going from the mechanical shutter of the ZF to the blackout-free electronic shutter of the Z8, where sometimes you don't even know you're taking a picture, was pretty funny. Another example, showing my wife photos to review on the back of the ZF gets one reaction, but on the back of the ZR with that screen, it's like, whoa, these photos are beautiful, whether they actually turn out that well once I edit them or not. And to me, that's awesome. Those are real feelings you get when using a camera, and that's what makes Nikon so much fun. And why does all of this even matter? Because like I've said in a lot of videos over the last year, pretty much all cameras are so good that how they feel to use is probably the only way they really stand out. Even some cameras that I don't prefer or don't understand, like the Sony FX2 that I did a video on recently, even those are very, very good cameras. All of the modern options are giving us excellent dynamic range, and most of them provide highly capable autofocus. On the spec sheets, it's just hard to separate them right now. So I just think one of the best ways to judge a camera right now, especially if you're picking between brands, or even if you're picking, one camera out of a lineup within one brand, is just going to be how it feels to use. For example, if you're a video shooter, know your needs. There are bodies that I would consider more standardized that check the boxes needed for documentary or broadcast work, but the ZR can still output an unrivaled image at its price point. And again, that screen is absolutely ruining other cameras for us. It's hard to go back to shooting video on anything else. For the more casual shooters that still want speed and accuracy, and of course that retro styling, the ZF is just so much fun to use. It's so low key to carry around, and it just creates beautiful full frame images, even if you're taking them just straight out of camera. And of course, if you're a professional or someone that, makes the bulk of their living using a camera and can support the purchase, then you probably want to take a look at some of the higher end options. I know there are lots of people in the cameras are just tools camp that could care less what's in their hand as long as it creates a great image. But personally, I want it all. I want the joy of using the camera, the inspiration to pick it up and create, the high quality results, and when I'm on the job, the reliability and confidence to operate without restrictions on my gear. And I hope you don't misinterpret what I'm saying here. I'm not saying that other brands don't have incredible cameras that can also deliver high quality photography and video. That's clearly not the case. I think each of them can make a case for why they are the best. But as someone that shot a lot of Sony cameras over the last 5 or 6 years, and I only bring them up because I'm just very familiar with their cameras, going from one to the next kind of feels the same sometimes. That's not necessarily bad. Familiarity can be very good. It's just not the most exciting all the time. Like going from an iPhone one year to the next model the following year. At first, it feels new, but then it just starts to feel familiar again too quickly. That's just not the case going between these cameras that Nikon offers within their lineup. They all feel very different to use and all have their unique use case. Again, in my opinion. I've got a whole lot more that I could add to this, but again, a lot of those thoughts are already out there with my videos about the Nikon ZF. The rest are coming soon when I talk about the Nikon ZR, and it would mean a lot if you subscribe to the channel and check those videos out. As always, I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you again soon.